Energy. It's all there is. It's everywhere. It makes up everything. In the beginning, there was light. Light is energy. The Big Bang was the birth of everything. When we think about this too much, then we're drawn to the thought of who or why there was a Big Bang to begin with. Why it happened at all, rather than not. Why is there something rather than no thing at all? Let's leave that question for a moment and just move from the beginning of everything and what has come into being since that moment in space-time. From the first nanosecond, 10 to the minus 32nd power of that moment, things started to happen. Big things. The beginning. Light. Waves. Particle transformation. Energy. Outward in all directions. Galaxies formed. Planets, suns, oxygen, water, life, and you. You were conceived. Interesting word, conceived. So out of all this stardust came you. You were one of the end products of this process. You became you. Of course, that brings up another question. Why you? Out of all the stardust, all the energy, all the possibilities, out of all the galaxies and out of all the configurations that could have been, you came into being. Now, there's been a lot of talk and thought and dismissal of this idea of meaning and order and constructiveness in the past few centuries. But no one denies that order has come into the world, that from the moment in the beginning, from then on, there has been a growing complexity and order out of chaos, a formation of continuing change from nothing to something, to more complexity from a singularity event. And out of that formation, that choice change, of all the energy configurations, out of all the possibilities, came you. You are one of the infinite possibilities that actually came into being, that actually actualized out of all the infinite possible configurations of energy which came into being, you. You at conception, you at school, you at work, you as a creator of new possibilities. You. So at one level, it is all about you. You and your you-ness is a unique configuration that came into being at this moment in space and time, and out of all the possible configurations, the could-have-beens, in all the fabric of space-time, there is you. But there's not only you. Sorry. There's infinitely more than you. Energy is still configuring, forming, coalescing, moving from that beginning moment to something new. A new moment, a new configuration, a new alignment of energies to bring into being new possibilities out of possibilities. New life, new everythings. Light, energy's child. Wavelengths, particles, and a probability configuration that still baffles us. We see it, and we don't see it. We see part of it with our limited eyesight. In fact, you would not see it unless it was interfered with. Imagine for a moment a very large shoebox, so big you can't even see the sides of it. And that shoebox contained no thing at all, nothing. No particles or dust or anything. And if you were to shine a light through that box lengthwise, and you were to look across that box, which contained nothing but that light, looking perpendicular to that light, in that empty box you would see nothing. Nothing at all. Yet insert one thing to interfere with that light, and you will notice it is at that point of interference. Light will appear visible to you. energy made visible. It was always there, traveling at the speed of light, right past you, but until there was something, it appeared as no thing. You are the something in the path of everything. You are providing the interference which offers the possibilities of everything to come into being. You may not have created the light, but you are the interference pattern that helps make light possible. Now, no one would see that or much of what is to be around you without you to make it visible. So, you're just an interference pattern. Doesn't that make you feel special? Well, on one level, it doesn't, but on another, it should. Without you, no one could see the light. You make the invisible visible. More than just light, all the possibilities of what could be from what is already here, what is already in existence, it's already there in part, is determined by you being there. Alignment. All of energy has a configuration. Every resultant thing in the universe of energy, from the Big Bang onward, coalesces, cools, and configures itself into some things. From micro-nano bits of field-bending possibilities we call quarks, to massive planets and suns, water, oxygen, carbon, mountains, people, all made at the base of it the same stuff, which started with that singularity we call the Big Bang. What of it? So what? Well, in the course of it all, you came into being. Out of all the possibilities and configuration of that energy, all the configurations that it could have taken, you came into the world. You exist in the now, this moment. You had many moments before this, and well, what is next? There is a flow, a river-like of energy. Leaving the questions of why again on the table, and we'll come back to that before I'm done. Is there a flow, a direction of this energy? Yes, there's a flow. There's a growing complexity on one level and a cooling and formation on another. Without going into all the details of it, and I'll leave that to my friend Steve McIntosh and others to explain the broad evolutionary trend of things, there is a flow, like the light of which you are part of. And to be seen, we too need interference patterns to make it visible. Within that flow, there remain many possibilities. Every creative possibility within the workable flow of energy in which you find yourself is open to the creative power of you. That whole flow and container in which you find yourself and in which all things consist is what we call the field. The field. The field is that creative flow of energy that's been working since the Big Bang. It is within that field that we all live and move and have our being. It is the stardust that makes up all of us. It is the container within which all things, all beings, all that is. And the field's not just what we would call the physical, measurable universe as we think of it, but everything, all that is and remains in it. The poets talk about it as the ocean in which we are all living. Scientists today talk of space-time continuum. A continuum. Interesting word. It is motion, but it has a form to it. It's not a formless void. Like the word universe, there is a unity within the complexity. Space-time is itself the container of the field, or is the field. Like words on paper, we have many levels. So, as we talk of these things, there are many levels of meaning. Ink on paper forms letters. That is one level. Letters together form words which have a conveyed shared meaning. And words together form sentences which convey more complex meaning. And sentences combined together make paragraphs, chapters, and books of meaning. Some small combinations of words make poetry, which can move us emotionally, touch us. Books of ideas can change the course of history. This is bending the field. Levels all combine up and down to make up this universe of meaning, from ink on paper, physical aspects of creation, to more abstract configurations of thought and concepts and meaning. They are all part of the same continuum universe. They help comprise the movement, the creative, and help make things visible to us. We who are looking sideways through the shoebox, making the invisible visible. This is the creative energy and the flow out of which meaning, things, and the universe evolves. Peeking over the wall. My friends who know me call me a mystic. That label has lots of connotative power, and I won't deny it. I believe there is a thread throughout all of human history, a common thread, where some of us have had the experience I call peeking over the wall. This experience is sometimes shocking, sometimes subtle. Whatever it is always transformative. Once having glimpsed over the wall, you cannot unsee what you have seen. It changes you. You now know something more, even though you may have trouble putting it into words. This experience is often described as ineffable. It's touched you in ways you cannot satisfactorily describe to others. And you are now different. Mystics from all traditions have had this indescribable kind of glimpse over the wall. Eyes are opened, awakened. They experience life differently afterwards. They sense things in a new way. They're transformed. This experience described by mystics shows up in every form of religion, though often the official and authoritative bodies, the formative administration of those religious movements, often deny or even persecute those mystics who do not align with the doctrinal core. Even religious movement founders are often unrecognizable in the current form of the religions that followed from their own mystic roots. Mystics had the unfortunate encounter which reaches beyond the structures of administration and go to the very heart of energy itself, to the creative center of everything. And once you've been touched this way, the creative force of it cannot be contained. It overrides the banks of our own perceptual, physical, even mental world to something more. It touches being itself. Of course, here's where we all get kind of lost in describing what that experience is. I say being, creative source, being touched. My expression is glimpse over the wall. Somehow we just know the more to things, the more than what we thought all that it was before the glimpse. Getting there. It is my belief that all of us are special. Well, beyond special. That you are a deliberate configuration of energy that's come into the universe to become the unique self which makes visible the invisible, making the light visible to those who cannot see it. And not just any light, but the light that is specially tuned to you. You are an energy yourself. You are a frequency. Like music, You have a harmony with certain things. You have an energy of life. Maybe you're like a coda, a waiting period, till the crescendo. Like all of energy, there are levels of activity. There are quanta, if you will, of creative actions. Sometimes we're fully engaged, like strings vibrate when a similar frequency wave is struck nearby. Good example is a tuning fork. Tuning fork tuned to E, when struck, will make an E string on a guitar vibrate to the E frequency, but only if it's tuned to E. The tuning of a guitar is often accomplished by touching the harmonic on the fret, striking the string, and seeing if the next string vibrates with that harmonic. If it does, if it resonates, it's in tune. If not, not much happens. The frequency is lost on it. Alignment is getting in harmony with your note. We're all special frequencies, unique configurations of energy in the universe. As beings in the universe, we have frequencies which act in harmony with us, frequencies which are in tune. Part of that tuning may involve glimpsing over the wall. There's no thinking your way there. There's no exercising your way there, though both these are supportive activities and cannot be fully divorced from the process. There's just something more. Longing. You know that longing that you have sometimes when you're alone, you've turned off the TV and the music, and when you're just by yourself? You sense that you're not quite at home. There's another place that you sense you belong. Or maybe you step outside and are fortunate enough to be able to see the stars, and you have the sense that there's something more. There's something more for you. You intuit that there has to be something beyond what you currently know, believe, and sense. Your life has to have more connection and meaning than what you know now. You just sense that. Well, when you feel, sense, intuit this, you're touching the edge of the wall, just beginning to reach up and pull down that veil and glimpse over. But you're not sure just how to follow through with that. Or you shrink back and tell yourself, it's all bull, and get back to work. But the truth is, you are onto something. That something is real. It's more real. It is a reality that many, many have encountered. So you're not alone. There is something more. The harmonies are calling you. When that happens, your frequency is responding to the tuning fork of God. There, I said it. It's a big word. There's no escaping it. God, the divine, the creator, the great being, universal spirit, spiritual center, ground of all being. There are a lot of words, but let's just keep it simple and just use the simple word, God. Remember the Big Bang we started with? And the question of why there is something rather than nothing? When we reach back and back and back and back, and we end up with this something called God. God in the beginning. Now don't let your scientific limited mind or your philosophical reductionism make you retreat from this glimpse over the wall. You may not know the deep truth of this yet, but I believe everyone has a deep-rooted sense of it. It's part of everyone's energy configuration. The why of you versus some other thing has to do with God. The flow of the field in which we find ourselves, our world, the whole of the universe, has to do with this. There's no escaping it. Our happiest, most powerful, in the sense of harmonic vibrational, not dominance kind of power. And our most meaningful self is one in alignment with the energies of the field, the configurations that surround us, and our connection with the source. Crosswise with these makes us unhealthy, unhappy, and less powerful than we could be. Within the field, there are infinite possibilities. You are the creator within that flow. Your energy is drawn on the energies of all that stardust that is there, and that is what makes up all of us. You can be a brighter light, lighting up the sky with your harmonies within harmonies, or you can be out of tune, feeling less meaning, less power, and less in touch with the you that is meant to be. Now I confess I do not understand it all. Yet I have had the fortune to glimpse over the wall. And I, like you, am a little bit of this stardust. But within all the possibilities of possibilities, I know that you came into being. You are the end of a long eternal string of possibilities, a guided string of possibilities. You are the poem of God. To sing with the poet, to play your harmonies with the orchestra of all, you perhaps need a nudge. And there are ways to help you get in tune. Some are familiar, some are ancient, and some are new. Newer technologies are the result of new creative energies of people who are also on their own journey, in harmony with the way things are, to help others find their own path. We'll be exploring these new ways and reacquainting ourselves with the ancient truths with new eyes. Eyes that are unafraid of the new, but in harmony with what has come before. Eyes that long to glimpse over the wall and become the you were meant to be. A light to the world around you.